Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about the most skilled software engineer. So let's get into it. So the question in question was, Frederick, who is the most skillful software engineer you have ever worked with? And what are the three things that you admire about that person? This is going to be hard because I have two people that I rank as the most important developers that I've ever met. They are the entire reason why I've made it this far. I would say I owe them more than I can possibly say in words, and I love them like brothers. And it's gonna be Mark and Alan. They are. I mean, I've met many people in my where I work right now as well, where I feel like really close to these people. But at my current level, the impact that they have, the people that are around me. I mean, I learn so many things from my coworkers every day. But at the stage I was in, when I was a much more junior profile, and when I met Mark and Alan, it was I met the perfect people at the perfect time. And they're not the only people. Like all the people that I used to work with in that company were in some way inspiring me to be better, to learn things and so forth. But these people, like these two guys, they stood out extra much. So the thing that I learned from, I mean, I basically learned everything I know about front-end engineering from Alan. He was the best that I've ever seen. I can tell you exactly how he got the job because I got hired before him. So they asked me, "Can you review?" Like I had gone through a few developers who claimed to be "quote unquote" senior developers, and I find we interviewed them. There was no one really, at least from my definition, was a senior front-end developer because, as I've told you guys before, it's practically impossible to find such a person. And then they sent me Alan's project, like the thing that he made like the code test that he had done. And by just looking at the code, I actually called up my boss immediately and said, hire him. I don't have to talk to him. I know he's good. I know he's fucking good. Because I went and looked at his personal projects, and I actually did my homework. I looked at the code, and I looked at other things that he had done and a bit of his like his profile and so forth. I knew this dude is way better. He's way better than anybody who's come through the door. And so that's the thing that I really admire, like the raw skill of this person, of Alan. And the same thing goes for Mark, but we're going to talk about Mark. The second thing that I admired by Alan about Alan was that he socially is just the most lovely person ever. Like he gets people. He is an open book. Like everybody can talk to him. Everybody loves talking to him. He's funny. He has a good heart, and like he just wants to help out. Whenever I was an annoying junior developer who had like the millionth question or I fucked up for the 2 millionth time, he would just go, okay, let's talk about it, or let's just figure this out. Of course I have time to help you out. He was always there. You could always talk to him. That's number two. That's the sort of person I try to be these days. The third and last thing was that he was enormously intelligent, like to the point where, I mean, he could see things clearly. Like he would figure out the most intricate problems that you can imagine. Like he actually could write solutions that actually worked. I don't think that in all, like, I mean, I can count on my 5 fingers where I just disagreed with him and I said, I don't think that that's probably going to work all that well for us. He almost always had a good idea. He almost always had a good solution to the thing. He was an absolute genius. And I mean, to combine that level of intellect with the social aspect and so forth, it's no wonder that he's running the show at a fairly large company these days. I still think that he is, though. The last time I talked to him, he's basically the head of. I think he's head of an entire engineering department. He has like several teams working for him or something like that. So and I mean, they hired the right dude for this for this thing for sure. And Mark is probably, well, he's the older brother. Like Alan is, he's a little bit older than me, Alan, but Mark is a few years older. And he is definitely, he's like the older brother, or like don't want to say dad because then it gets a little bit creepy. But he is literally the father figure type of character that I've always wanted. He is everything that I aspire to be. as a software developer. The first and foremost thing that he has is, I mean, he has just raw skill. He can read a system. He understands architecture. He understands what's gonna work, what's not gonna work, what's a good idea, what's a bad idea. His decision-making ability is like beyond everything. I mean, this dude was so notorious that in a really, really large international company, he literally had the position where most people actually wanted him to think and have ideas about things. He was involved in discussions like that was way over his pay grade. I mean, like, he was a presence. That's like he had a seniority that is hard to describe, and he just always delivered on this image of the perfect senior, like this older Sean Connery looking type of dude who's just, yeah, he just kind of knows all the things. I mean, if you're ever worried about figuring something out, you'd go and talk to Mark, and if he doesn't know, he'll point you to the guy who actually knows the thing. And he has, just as Alan have, like, you can always talk to him. He will always give you some piece of advice. He will always have a point of view that is very well thought through, and he's going to direct you, and he loves joking around. He's just an overall nice person to be around, which is exactly the sort of comfort you want when you're like a junior-ish type of developer who's just trying to figure out how all of this shit works. And then finally, the thing that is to be said about Mark is that he's wise. He has fucking real wisdom. He's the sort of dude who can call out he is the sort of dude who will call out Martin Fowler or Uncle Bob when they're saying something that might be too idealistic. He's the dude who will be like, yeah, I mean, there is absolutely a use case for microservices, but you should think about that it's not all colors and it's not all rainbows and unicorns. You have to think about this stuff and this stuff and this stuff. And in some cases, and he actually, it's kind of funny because both me and Alan have told him a few times now that we are starting to suffer from the same sort of thing, and maybe it just is a mark of seniority where some people consider you to be pessimistic if you point out flaws with somebody's cool, awesome idea. And he said it in a way which I think was really nice. He explained that I'm not trying to be negative. I'm trying to, some people are very talented at coming up with really big new ideas, and some people are very good at figuring out the holes. And just because you're good at figuring out the holes, that doesn't mean that you don't think that an idea has validity. It's just that if you don't plug those holes, you're gonna sink. You have to plug them. That's it. There's no one is trying to be mean to anybody. It's just that the holes are there, and we need to look at them so we don't sail out into the ocean and the whole fucking thing sinks. And his perspective on it, like he was the sort of person, as I said, he was truly wise. You wanted him to basically sit in on practically every meeting. He wasn't always interested in being in every meeting, but he was the sort of person that if he was like an emotional teddy bear. If you just have him there, you know it's gonna be all right, because this dude is here, he knows his stuff, and he is not gonna be shifted by some mid 20s or like early 30s manager thinks that they know everything. This dude is rock solid. So what I want you to take away from this is that I can't pick one person that was the most important person in terms of software engineering. I have two dudes that taught me practically everything that I know, and I still meet up with them from time to time. Like the corona thing has made it a little bit less frequent, but we always meet up every now and then. I love these dudes, these guys as brothers. They are the two of the most important people I've ever met. I've met many people since then, but these guys, they were there when I really needed them. And the main things that they taught me is the value of social interactions and being a good person to be around, to like have a nice dialogue with people and actually interact and so forth. The value of having really well thought out ideas, really think things through, make the right move at the right time. And the third and last thing is to have to try to be wise. Don't fall prey to every single trend. Don't jump on every bandwagon. Think things through and have a broader perspective on the things that you are working with. Understand the problems that you are solving and the solutions that you have available, and then pick the right thing. If you can do all these things and still have a good heart and be a sociable person, then you are everything that I aspire to be as a software developer. Have a great day.